Mixed martial arts shows us the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. The difference between victory and defeat can be a matter of inches, and these athletes sacrifice it all in the name of glory. The lights are on, the cameras are rolling, the mic is live. It can mean only one thing. This is Octagon Hype.
Welcome back to Octagon Hype. My name's Josh Gudgeon, and this is...
Whoa! Oi! What's going on? What are you playing at, mate?
This is episode 5.
Episode 5? You've had one trip to blooming Brno for an Octagon and you... Get out. I'm not having... Hey, wait a minute. And what are these magazines? They're disgusting. Have you not heard of the internet?
They're for later.
God, get out my seat. Move. What are you playing at?
What's wrong?
What you playing? It's me that does welcome. I'm Bryan Lacey. I'm your host of Octagon Hype. This is Josh Gudgeon, and Josh Gudgeon might be looking for a new job next week, mate.
Mate, this is our show now.
Now listen, mate. I'm genuinely excited to get your feedback of this weekend because we took Josh to his first ever Octagon event. Josh, the journey was one thing, the event was another. It was an emotional weekend for you, right?
Mate, it was far exceeded any of my expectations. Like you've been telling me for 4 episodes how good it is now, and it was better than that. Imagine that.
Better. I can imagine that. And this is the great thing, because now we get to give it to you, the people of Octagon Hype, because you've done a vlog. The vlog, by the way, we're going to show you some snippets of it, some snippets of this little adventure, his little insight, him feeling the emotions, the atmosphere, seeing the fights live as well in a pretty good seat, I'm going to say, Josh. But were you quite happy with your seat?
Mate, I think I was about as close as you. I was sat just behind Brian. I could see everything. I think I even got a bit of blood on me at one point.
That was nothing from the fights. Just a very aggressive lady sat next to him with some long nails. So look, I want to get your thoughts, mate, because we brought you in, took you to Brno. First of all, the city. What a beautiful city, right?
Beautiful city, beautiful people. Like I just loved every minute of it. And the food as well. The food were excellent.
The food. We looked after him. If you're wondering how I get so big, this is it, these Octagon trips. So we'll start at the beginning, Josh, because we talked about the city. Brno is a place which was the home for Octagon during the restrictions during COVID. It was the place that allowed them to continue because they could put on these fights, and they were able to put on a number of shows during that period, which actually saw the promotion grow, which was phenomenal, because you saw lots of promotions pull back. Some have to accommodate in different ways, but in Brno, they got their own little hotel. They're basically their own fight island, which allowed them, and more importantly as well to them, allowed the fighters to compete. Now, during that time, the crowd was limited. At one point, there was no crowd, and bit by bit, they started adding it. And one of the things I got from this tournament in particular, Octagon 35, which went down in Brno, was how grateful the crowd were. Just how, it was something that made it extra special for me. We'll talk about the fights. We'll talk about some of the big moments in the cage that happened. But outside the cage, the atmosphere, and even at the weigh-ins, Josh, the atmosphere of the people, it felt like something really special from between Octagon and the crowd.
Absolutely. I think it was interesting that no matter the size of the fighter or the size of what part of the card that they were on, the crowd just got behind every single person. So you could tell that they were genuine fight fans. They weren't there just to watch one fight. They were there for the whole experience. Yeah, and right from the start, and I'm not just talking about the actual event, like the weigh-ins. What did you think of the crowd? What did you think of? Because I rocked you up. Like this is as well. We got to tell the honest truth about getting to Brno as well, because it's a slog, right? Yeah.
And you got trapped on Friday night in Friday traffic, a journey that should take 2 hours took nearly 4 in a van, but you made it, and then I dragged you straight from the van to the weigh-ins. I mean, just describe that for me. It was amazing, because I didn't actually know what to expect. I didn't know where the ceremonial weigh-ins were. I expected it to be indoors on a stage. Yeah. So then when we ended up in that square, we arrived, the door opens, and there was just people everywhere on like this sloped hill leading up to a stage that was outside in this square.
square, beautiful square, and the crowd was going wild. The music were playing. There were a merch stall. The big is he a gorilla, right?
He's a gorilla.
The big gorilla's walking around. I'm thinking, what is this? What is this circus that we just walked into? You know, it was unbelievable.
The Octagon Circus. So we've got some of the footage as well. We've got some from your vlog that we can sort of cut in and kind of give you a taste. And again, this is going to be snippets from this vlog. And what I love about this, Josh, and I'm going to say I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of George. George is our editor as well. About how you don't just show the fights or, you know, some nice, beautiful scenery. The vlog gives you a real feel for what it was like to be there. I mean, you sent it to me last night and I watched it. You said, have you seen it yet? And we were both like, oh my God, it does exactly that. It takes you there, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Octagon do an amazing job of doing like the production and shows you all the slow motion shots and it looks cool and atmospheric. I wanted to make sure we shot it like a vlog. So like a first person's view, a first person experience. You're there with me, feeling what I feel, and it comes across like amazing. Like, you know, George has done a great job of editing it. It was just a blast. The whole thing, the whole experience were amazing.
Yeah. So look, let's give you a little insight. We're going to do a little snippet, a little, a few little clips from this vlog, and then we're going to talk about some of the fights. Could you say, could you please sign something for yeah. Could you please autograph? Do the tassels thing again. Do the tassels. Oh, hey!
Oh, look at this, mate.
What are we saying, mate? What are we saying?
Oh, this isn't going to last long, this fight. Oh! Knee to the face there as well. Went in for a single leg. Ate it.
So like I said, Josh, love it. Love it because of the feel. It's only a small snippet there. You got to go and check it out. That is going to be on the Octagon MMA UK and Ireland YouTube channel. Exactly where this Octagon Hype goes live. You can catch the full vlog and follow the full adventures of our very own Joshua Gudgeon. Yeah, I'm proud of you, mate.
Thank you, sir.
So let's talk about the fights, mate, because the card, again, this is another thing that I felt was very special. It delivered. It absolutely delivered from start to finish. And again, the crowd were a huge part of this. You look at the size of the arena, almost 10,000 people. Almost. If you squint, it looked exactly like 10,000 people. But it was sold out. They were there from the very start. They were there for the very first fight. One of their fighters, Gottwald, returned from a long layoff and came back into the cage. Then we moved on into the next fight. Now, this is the one where I kind of gave you that little heads up beforehand. The return of Radovan Uskert, and he has got 5 professional wins, 5 knockouts before coming into that. All those knockouts in the very first round. Then he did this. Josh, told you.
You called it beforehand, and I had goosebumps like when that happened because like I could hear it. Like that's one thing that you probably can't experience through pay-per-view or online or even on the highlight. When you can hear that connection, you're so close. It would just. It's almost eerie to hear that sound and to sort of feel it yourself when you're so close, because then you realise this is real life. It's real life violence.
Absolutely, and I'd never called a Radovan Uskert fight, but when he announced he was coming back, because that's a 3-year layoff. 3 years he'd basically gone off into the wilderness hunting. This is the type of guy he is. And then he said, "Yeah, I'll come back," and everybody was like, 3 years. It moves on quick. Mixed martial arts is unforgiving. Year to year, you see new techniques, new styles, you see new styles of fighting come up. And this guy had spent some time off, kind of been training in there, training with a UFC heavyweight fighter, Boudet, who used to be the Octagon heavyweight champion, Martin Boudet. He spars with him. And Boudet even says, if you're thinking I win every round, you are wrong. And we're talking about this guy who's fighting at, I think, middleweight, sparring with a world-class heavyweight fighter. So when we heard that, we kind of thought, oh, okay, this is exciting. Then he stepped in the cage, looked loose, freakily loose for his return in a big crowd on that card, connected with that uppercut. And it's not just the connection, Josh, it's the reaction of the human body on the opponent, because he gets hit and it's like just a second, that hesitation where the body kind of goes, oh, I need to switch everything off. Just goes boom.
Yeah, it was strange. It was that delayed reaction. I think that's what gave me the goosebumps. It was that delayed reaction, then lights out. It's like his legs just stopped working and he fell.
Yeah, gone. That teed us up nicely for the welcome of the English fighter, James Lewis, making his debut. And mate, what a crazy week he had. We talked about your journey coming to Brno. James Lewis, Andrew Clamp, and of course the legend that is Tom Blackledge. They made the journey over. They had connecting flights to get to Brno, and their luggage went missing in the midst. So they land in a country, in a city they've never been in before. No gear, no change of clothes, no toothbrush, no gum shield, no cup, no training gear. And the airline is kind of going, we'll get this stuff to you. Never got to it. No. Never got to it. We still don't know whether they've received that. But despite all of that, James Lewis, his camp, and this is credit to his camp as well. I mean, we've been around fighters. We know how important it is. In fact, just how important the people around you are in those moments, how they are with their energy, how they are with the time they spend with you, how they look after you. And you couldn't have a better set of people around you than Tom Blackledge and Andy Clamp.
Nah, them two are just amazing. I mean, the veterans aren't there, so you feed off, like you say, you feed off the people around you in day-to-day life, but on fight week, when the pressure's on, you need some cool cucumbers around you. And that's a pair of cool cucumbers right there.
And we ain't talking about the type that Stefan hides in his swimming shorts and eats on a jet skiing holiday. But let's talk about the performance, because listen, he stepped in. Selim Topuz is the Octagon Season 1 of the German Octagon Challenge Series. He's the champion of that. He won that title back in June. He's a late replacement for Gabor Bororos, who James Lewis was supposed to be fighting. Totally different fighting style, totally different part of his career as well, and the trajectory, a real upward trajectory for this young fighter. A dangerous fight, but James Lewis said, I'm not missing this opportunity. I'm not sitting out and waiting for Gabor. And he stepped into the cage with Selim Topuz, and he did this. What a finish and what a moment for him. You saw everything. First of all, what a celebration. He took more damage running his head into the cage than he did actually within the fight. But again, my thing that really, really stands out from that, and you kind of play-by-played it as well in your vlog, which is, again, another reason to go and check the full episode out. But if you listen when he's got the back and he's struggling to flatten him out, if you turn up the audio, you can hear Tom Blackledge and Andy Clamp, like piece by piece, breaking down what he needs to do. He follows their instructions, it's basically a neck crank under, and gets the tap from Selim. That again shows, and he said it in his post-fight interview, I drink the water, but they take me to the well. What a sentence that is. And he did exactly that. That level of coaching, that level of relationship between the fighter and the coach, that shone through this weekend.
Yeah, and especially like with all the pressure, all of that adversity leading up to the fight, to still be able to stay tuned in, because he took up a couple of shots at the beginning of the fight, but went to the ground, beautiful butterfly sweep, and like you said, on the back, and just did what he needed to do, listened to his corner, finished it.
Did what he needed to do in the fight, and then did what he needs to do on the mic afterwards as well. So listen, next up, you said it, you want Gabor next, you got a multi-fight deal. You call him out, when do you want? We got shows in December, what do you think?
December, let's go. Gabor, you're the superstar. You're such a handsome boy, come on, show off to everyone, let's get in. But anyone, I'm coming for the belt in the end. I'm coming for it all.
Well, you've got your first victory here in Octagon. Bruno, give it up one more time. James Lewis. Boy, that's what you do, right? We say it, we've talked about it before. These moments that you get on the mic are as important as what you create in the cage, on the mats. And he made that moment. He's now given himself a promo. For them not to make that fight next is going to be very difficult, because Gabor has said he can be back in December. He can be back in the cage competing, and now he's got somebody who's screaming his name off the back of a victory. So for me, I think it's got to happen, right?
Tasty fight, mate. Sign me up. I'm there. Let's go.
Tasty fight. Speaking of tasty fights, this was one that had, we'll call it the most needle before the fight. Rushel versus Bartel. Now this, I didn't give you the heads up on this. This was a underground rules fight. So during the pandemic, Octagon, they modified some rules of MMA. So you could have more in favor of the strikers, because they've got lots of high-level Muay Thai fighters, K1 fighters over there in the Czech Republic and Slovakia. So they've made it. So basically for this one, what it would be is Muay Thai in small gloves with some modified rules in and around. But Rochelle and Bartel went at it for 3 hard rounds. A phenomenal striking display from both of them. Bartel took so much damage, kept on coming, got rocked, got dropped as well, Josh, but managed to see that final bell. Rochelle got his hand raised in the end, but as a spectacle, what was that like?
Yeah, it was an unbelievable sort of striking masterclass. Bartel, like you said, took a shot early on and cut his eye open, which obviously were going to give him problems, but you know, he kept going, he got knocked down, he saw the fight out, but yeah, it was an unreal striking performance on both sides. A
real treat. And another treat they gave us, Josh, was the moment that, had the whole arena on their feet. Yuri Prochazka, the UFC light heavyweight champion, just claimed that belt, came home to a hero's welcome, and then paraded the belt in the Brno arena in front of this crowd. I mean, Josh, just sum up what it was like to witness and be part of such an epic moment.
Brian, you're much more of an articulate man than I am. I think it'd be only right if you describe how you...
I think we got to be honest with our audience, right? Because what happened is, and I'll tell you the truth straight up. So me and Josh, we knew this moment was going to happen. We missed it. We missed it because my schedule, I get a TV schedule, I get a schedule which tells me what's going to happen and when. And we were well ahead because of all the finishes. We were way ahead of when the timing was be for that to drop. So I listened in my ear, got no instruction. I looked down at the paper and I misread the time. So I misread the time that it was going to happen, the length of break we had. So I went for a drink, toilet break, a little bit of food, and I'm there. And then suddenly people come running in going, "Where are you, Brian? Where are you?" So I run out and I'd missed it. I had missed this moment. But speaking to people afterwards, watching the footage back, just feeling the energy of the crowd around that time. I mean, they were they're so proud of this guy. They're so proud that he comes from their city. And that is something magnificent. Like, Josh, I talked to you about the rise of Slovakia and the Czech Republic in MMA. This guy's the proof in the pudding, right?
Yeah, he's the top of the tree, isn't he? And he came out in that like kimono
tuxedo.
I'm pretty sure he had like a T-Rex's tooth hanging around his neck. Like the most badass man on the planet.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, I couldn't rock that, could I? You couldn't rock that.
Could you imagine?
Can you imagine me in that? No, it's not happening, Joshua. No, it's not. But that was a fantastic moment. And again, another one of these moments where you can feel the relationship between the fans and the fighters. You can feel the energy and the love and how proud they are of this city, of their country, of the athletes coming up through it. And we still had more to come. There's another fight I want to talk to you about as well. We'll jump to that briefly, is Andrej Kalasnik, because he had Yuri Prochazka in his corner. So this is another adopted son of Brno. So he's born in the Ukraine, has lived pretty much all of his life in Brno. He's coming off the back of a devastating loss to Kike Brito, knockout in the first round when he was that close to having his first title shot under the Octagon banner. But he said to me, and you saw it at the weigh-ins, the relationship he had with the fans, the way he talked to them, the way they cheered him on when he got to the stage. You saw in his walkout this absolute epic walkout where he steps out into this arena and he doesn't face forward the cage, he turns around and you see him looking at the crowd and taking it all in, calling them on, and they rose with him. And then when he walks to the cage with Jiří Procházka in his corner, his training partner, his friend, what he calls his big brother, it all added to this beautiful moment where he even said to me, Bruno's given me so much, because I said there's pressure, right? There's got to be pressure that comes with stepping out in your own arena, coming off the back of a loss. And he said this couldn't be the more perfectly timed moment for me, the more perfectly timed place, because this city and these people have given me so much. This is my chance to give them something back. So he stepped in the cage and he took somebody on, a tough Brazilian, Dos Santos, El Tigre Dos Santos, 21 fights, professional MMA fights, 15 victories, I think 6 or 7 finishes within there. Super tough, super experienced, somebody that is a challenge with a full camp and even on short notice, because you got to prepare for that awkward style. But he put on a very technical and impressive performance to go over 3 rounds and claim that victory. Now, he was a little bit disappointed with himself that he couldn't get the finish, but he did all he needed to do, and the fans loved it. The fans were on their feet again at the end, and for me, another moment which, when you associate fighters with places and people with areas or countries, he is somebody who is still on the upward trajectory of his career, who's now back in that win column, and you can see from the fan base he's got and the relationship he's got with the fans, another potential superstar for Octagon. And the great thing is, Josh, we are going to have Andrej Kalasnik to relive those moments through his own voice on this show later on today. Once we got through this card, Andrej Kalasnik will tell us exactly what that felt like at Octagon 35. Next up, I want to talk to you about the fight. David Moon, somebody who's already been highlighted in these Octagon Hype shows, took on a guy called Jakub Donald. Now, Donald called for this fight, Josh. Donald felt he saw something within Moon's style that he could exploit within the cage. Now, when you look at Donald's style of fighting, pretty much every single fight he has ever been in, he really leans on his grappling, a world-class grappler. He uses the big overhand rights to get the clinch, to get the takedown, to control his opponent. When I heard that he called for this fight, I looked back at the Mate Sanekidze fight with David Moon, and Sanekidze used grappling to control David against the cage, take away all those dangerous weapons, get him to the mat, fatigue him, frustrate him, really make it not just a physical battle, but one of the mind as well. And I thought that's exactly the blueprint. That's what we're going to see from Donald. Donald, though, shocked everybody in the arena by standing toe-to-toe with David Moon. Not just standing toe-to-toe with him, but having huge success. He dropped David Moon in the first round. A short left hook dropped David Moon. David Moon had to lean on his takedown defense to keep the fight standing. Then Donald just kept coming out with this overhand right, this 1-2 that Moon, despite the fact of how good a striker he is, he struggled with the range because it was an awkward style. It's an unorthodox style of striking. He even said it to me after the fight. He said, I just couldn't place myself in the right positions to defend it or to create my own attacks. But Moon, this shows Moon the quality of martial artist he is. He had his corner, Eric Spicely and Ryan Parsons, and we were so close to the corner. We could hear them within the gaps between the second round and the third round. And they say, you got to go, Moon. You got to go. This is it. All or nothing. And he stepped out and he won the third round for me. So for me, first round, Donald, without a doubt. Third round, Moon, without a doubt. The second round is where it laid. And it came down to a split decision. Split decision, which saw Jakub Donald, Bruno's own Jakub Donald, take the win. And a very, very disappointed David Moon, but somebody who I think should still hold his head up high, right, Josh? Because that was fight of the night, and the arena absolutely adore. I mean, they were very happy that Jakub Donald, their hometown fighter, had, but they were so impressed with David Moon as well.
That for me, that, like you say, fight of the night for me as well. That was for the fans. Unfortunately, there's always got to be one winner and one loser, and David Moon fell on the wrong side of it that night, but he's got nothing to be ashamed of. And like, his takedown defense was world class.
World class.
I said it on the vlog. I was, you know, that was one thing that stood out to me. And unfortunately, that overhand right just kept finding a home. You know, that was the first fight that I could listen to the corner and actually understand what they were saying. And they kept asking for a jab. They just wanted to sit behind a jab, you know. And you know, just an amazing back and forth. So he's got nothing to be ashamed of.
Nothing, and he will be back, I'm sure. Because when I spoke to him, he's that horrible thing. And I said at the start that MMA gives you the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. He's coming off the back of that Conrad win where you couldn't scrape him off the ceiling after that. I mean, he was buzzing and bouncing around. All the world seems to be in colour, and everything you see and all the opportunities are there. And I was sat with him after the fight, and it was almost like he was lost. But what he's shown us time and time again is he is world class.
Yeah.
Is he does have a phenomenal skill set that is extremely fan friendly, and without a doubt he will be back. Now we'll move on to our co-main event of the evening. The co-main event of the evening was Rysavy versus František Fodor. This is an all-Slovakian battle. This was a fight that was supposed to be scheduled earlier in the year. Fodor came out, got tested positive with COVID the day before the fight. So Rysavy, on his birthday, had a fight and had to take on an opponent at short notice, 1 day's notice, finally got that win, got that finish. This fight had so much on the build-up because of that. The speculation of did he pull out? Was the COVID test real? He never saw it. So he started, throwing slights at Fodor, saying, I don't believe you. I don't think you want to fight me. Fodor came back and said, well, if I don't want to fight you, why am I fighting you here this weekend? So we saw these two finally settle the score in the cage at Octagon 35, and this is how it went. So for me, Josh, this fight was about the pressure Rysavy brought. From start to finish, he was in the face of František Fodor. Never gave him the space to use the weapons we know him so well for. Had him in trouble on the ground. I mean, you do jiu-jitsu. That's a tight head and arm.
Yeah, I thought that was it, because even though he had, he was answering the phone. I called it on the vlog. He's answering the phone, but he passed over from half guard over to, onto the side, and it looked like he'd finished it, but he just didn't go out far enough to be able to get that pressure in to be able to finish the head and arm choke. And then eventually he got out and they were back standing again. But
as soon as they got out, that's when again that pressure came. Rysavy gave him no quarter. Literally was in his face, kept his back against the cage. And you look at the finish when he drops him with that heavy right hand, and you can hear the sound. It slaps as it connects with the head. Drops Fodor. Then he looks to add up some pressure. Starts by just throwing simple right hands down. The ref was like, nah. Give me a little more. Got the elbows for sale today. Got any elbows? So Rysavy, impressive again. Upped the pressure, upped the pace, added the elbows, got the finish. It was a standout performance, a one that puts him back on a 2-fight win streak, 2 fights, 2 finishes. Certainly somebody who was already climbing back up that ladder, looking towards getting to a title fight. As impressive as he was, though, Josh, there was one thing that didn't impress me. One thing, because he jumps to the cage. Now, his thing is somebody brings him a beer as soon as he wins. So he finishes the guy, and it was quick. I mean, I don't get served that quickly in the Czech Republic, but somehow he got a fresh pint, set and ready, passed up to him. Now, when you do that, Josh, you got to finish the beer, right?
Yeah, I mean, like...
Josh, you got to finish the beer, right?
You've got to do it. Take a big breath, get it done.
As soon as it went in his hand, and he went... I was like, there's no way he's necking this beer. There is no way he is necking this beer. And he gets maybe 3 chugs down, mate. 3 chugs. You pour it on yourself, right? You make a moment of it.
Yeah.
You don't go, oh no, it's not for me. Or it's that was the only bit out of that wonderful performance that I thought you let yourself down, mate. You let yourself down.
You let yourself down, you let your team down.
Everything, but no, super impressive. And again, back in that win column. Main event time, Josh. Main event now. I'm going to jump to you to describe the atmosphere as they dropped the music, as the lights went down, and both fighters made their way to the cage. Just tell people how that felt.
Honestly, it felt like it felt like the arena was shaking. Everybody was on their feet, just, you know, like the energy was just sort of like coming down from the nosebleeds. Like, you can't, even on the vlog, you can't get an appreciation for the size of that arena. And from the top down to the bottom, all of the crowd were just shouting. They wanted to see violence. I asked you before, and I'm like, call it, Brian, give me... Which way do you think it's going to go? You sat on the fence.
100% sat on the, I've still got the marks on my ass from that fence, because if I would never have, even if I wasn't going to predict the winner, I'd have never predicted that the fight would go the way it did. Now, Patrick Kinsale talked to us on this very show, in this very studio, and he said, I've been working on some new tools. I want to show all the developments I've made in my camp. I asked him, kind of tell us what? He went, it's a secret. And I'm glad he kept it a secret, because he surprised everyone in attendance. You look at all the crowd, you look at all the people around the cage. When he did what he did, and we're going to show you, don't worry, we're going to show you what happened. When he did what he did, everybody was shocked, because it was a clinic in striking, a masterclass of range, of accuracy, of timing. His right hand was as sweet and true as we have ever seen it. And people say, because he's 36 fights into his pro MMA career now, all this talk was he's too old. Yeah, he's the champion, he's good, but maybe he's not world class anymore. This guy gave us the moment. Like, when you talk about fights living up to the billing, everybody thought it would be a grappling fight like the Pirat Kristofic. Everybody thought that this fight might just be a game of control for 25 minutes for Patrick Kinsale, if that's the way you saw it was going to go, with the threat of Lahore maybe being able to catch him on one of the entries. That was everybody I talked to. That's what they thought. Kinsale came out the walkout, he's super focused. Then he gets inside the cage. You can just see even his physique, the shape he is in. That shows you motivation. That is, you don't get into that shape if you are not fully in and fully motivated for a fight. Then to step in against Lahore, who is a counter striker, and to go first, to be the one stepping in with that overhand right. That's the dangerous punch to throw. You step in with your overhand right. There's so many punches Lahore can use there to exploit your entry, your closing of distance for him. And Kinsale, loose, fluid. He switches stances. And I thought he's going to throw a head kick. And he threw this left head kick that connected with Lahore. That was the beginning of the end. He'd already rocked him a couple of times, but then he piles the pressure on, gets the finish, gets it done within one, and there was not a single person sat down. There was not a single person without their feet standing up and then their jaw on the ground, because it was the tournament was good, but it was almost the moment the tournament needed, because this showed why it's a title fight. This showed why everybody was anticipating it. And for me, one of my favourite moments ever, cage side.
And you talk about the crowd going wild, including me, Brian. I was like a little girl cheering off, screaming. Rah! It was like, that was an experience of a lifetime.
That's genuine, right? And this is again why the vlog, I think, is so nice, because I'll talk to you guys all the time about how good these events are, about the crowd, about how different the energy and the atmosphere are from other shows that I've been to, from other shows across Europe, across the world. But you got to feel it. You got to see it. We had Paul Smith, the comedian, come and join us as well. He's a big MMA fan. He came over, wanted to see an event. We took him there. We showed it. Same with him. He was sat there with his wife and like taking in the atmosphere, the energy from the weigh-ins to that. He was even saying, this is crazy that not more people know about this event.
It's just different. Like, you can't explain it. You've got to experience it.
Yeah, which you do. You've all got to go. You've all got to go watch an Octagon event live. Now, one of the things about the experience as well, Octagon did this clever thing where they captured that moment with the finish with Alex Lahore and Patrick Kinsale. Patrick Kinsale piling that pressure on, getting the finish. And they've done a video from all perspectives of the commentary booth. So they do English, Czechoslovakian, and then German. Now, we're going to play this so you can see, you can get the energy and atmosphere from all of the different commentators. Now, I don't speak much Czech. I speak a small amount of Czech, tiny. I can order a beer and I can order another beer. In German, I don't speak much German. I can order a beer. All right. But there might be one word at the end of the German that all of our viewers might know what it means.
Oh! Look at this! Look into the finish! Patrick Kinsale trying to do what Ramola couldn't finish Lahore.
Shizer. What does Shizer mean? What does Shizer mean?
We best not say it again. Oh my goodness, what a but again, it just sums up the emotions. Even cage side, how you can't hide or fight that is natural. And if someone's going to get upset about that, we're watching guys and girls fight in their underwear in a cage.
Yeah.
If you're going to get upset by that, look at yourselves. You know, you've got bigger issues. But the other thing that happened off the back of that fight, now this fight was deemed that, and this was by the fans, the hunt for the Terminator. Carlos Vermola had said already that even though he's claimed the light heavyweight crown, he wants to come back down and claim that middleweight crown, a middleweight belt that used to be around his waist. Now, to start with, Pavel Neruda was very good because he blocked Carlos Vermola from getting in the cage, but no one stops Vermola getting in the cage. He went walking around the back and everyone thought, well, that's that moment done. He leapfrogged the fence, leapfrogged it. You watch the athleticism on this dude, jumps the fence, grabs the mic from Andrej Novotny and basically lays the challenge for December for the fight between him and Kinsale. Now, there's a moment that they get as they cross paths as Vermola exits and Kinsale is still in the cage, and Vermola says, that's your belt till December, you're looking after it for me till December. And Kinsale, cool as you like, just goes, yeah, no one cares about you, no one cares about you. And this is the other side of it, because we showed you the Stvanica event where Vermola walked out on, or didn't walk out, was carried out on a throne, the fans all on their feet, their king, their hero. When he stepped in and grabbed that mic and challenged Kinsale, tried to take that moment away from him, there was a switch with the fans and the cheers turned to boos. And that shows just how on a knife edge these fighters can be, but it does set up what is such an exciting bout should they be able to get it ready for December, right?
Man, I felt the nerves because the atmosphere turned. Like you breathe. You literally, it's part. The energy is part of you whilst you're in there. And then, like you said, when he jumps in and the crowd turn, I'm thinking, oh, whoa, what's actually going to happen here? I didn't know which way it was going to go. But using like MMA maths, Brian.
Okay, that great thing, MMA maths, which always works out, which is why we're rich from betting.
Yeah, so we saw Vermola versus Lahore.
Lahore, yeah.
Yeah, and then we
Five rounds.
Then we saw what Kinsale did to Lahore.
I know.
So if I'm a betting man,
yeah, my
money's on Kinsale.
Really? Wow.
And
wow.
I'm putting the MMA maths bet down there, even though it never works. That's why styles make fights.
And this is interesting because it's such a long time since Kinsale fought Vermola. Years since they fought, and Vermola beat Kinsale. Since then, Kinsale has risen through the ranks. It's been a long time as well since Vermola has been down to middleweight. We're going to be talking nearly 2 years. 2 years since he made middleweight. And that's a factor as well, because he's huge.
Yeah.
He's absolutely huge. So that weight cut, the fight before the fight could play hugely into this. So with the MMA maths and with all that sort of stuff, I can see why people will see this. But the fact it is a Vermola fight means as we get closer, I promise you, you'll start doubting that as
yes.
the promotion starts. So look, we have talked to you about the events. We've shown you some of the fights. I've got 2 guests for us today. So first of all, we were lucky enough to get Paul Smith, the comedian, to come over and experience an Octagon event for the very first time. He's a big MMA fan, and I'm excited to see what he thought and what he felt in Brno this weekend. So here he is, the one, the only UK comedian, online sensation, not Pablo Escobar, the one and only Paul Smith. How are you, mate? That's a great name.
The private joke from the weekend.
That is a private joke. And that's what I want to talk to you about. We were honoured to have you over in Brno joining us for your first ever Octagon event. Before we dig into that, I want to introduce people to you, first of all, because this has got a mixed audience from the Czech Republic, Slovakia, as well as across the UK. You have become... and and I talk to people about this. You have built your own castle, mate. You are not somebody who has had lots of people in and around you, but you've become one of the biggest draws, one of the most watched as far as you look at on. Whenever I look left to my wife, and she's always on the left, we're like Ant and Dec, mate. Always on the left. She's on TikTok, and I'll see you. I hear.
No, that's not videos.
FaceTime. You're welcome, mate. She deserves better. But go on, just tell people what's happened over the last few years with you and what it's like living this dream as a comic in the UK now.
It's amazing. I'm very, very blessed. Just started a new tour, and it's just nice being out on the road. And I didn't used to like. I mean, you know yourself from back in the day. Being on a road comic can be a lonely thing sometimes, but it makes it worthwhile when you get into theatres and it's like it's 1,000, 2,000 people who have paid to see you. It kind of changes it up a little bit, so that's been nice. I got it was a bit of a weird. I got recognised in Prague a few times, which was when that happens. That's mind blowing.
That's
yeah.
No, this isn't who gave you the shiner, was it? Someone didn't come over and like what?
As an aside story, me and my missus went and got a Thai massage, which I'd never had before, and we were kind of joking about a happy ending. Nah, I got absolutely battered by a small Thai. I've never been as close to tapping out. The people at Blackledge MMA have got nothing on this Thai woman.
A 46-kilogram Thai woman, 84 years old, beat the shit out of you.
I came in at the end and was like, recognised me, offered to pay for my massage, was like so happy to see me. So then I had a load of like Thai woman hanging off me getting pictures. He didn't have a fucking clue.
You just want to let everybody know your wife was with you at the same time,
yeah,
right?
She was right next to me, yeah.
Oh, listen, so we brought you both over. I knew you were a big MMA fan. I'd seen you do some other stuff in and around the sport. I seen you train a little bit, and I really wanted to get you over to kind of experience Octagon.
Just that's
it. That's the only way. I held him down and I smashed him in the face until he said yes. That's it.
Do it, Brian.
But I mean, as far as being an MMA fan, these are shows, and I'd introduce you to a little bit by sending you some clips from some of the ones, like Carlos Famola coming in on a throne to these events. When you see shows of this size outside of the general sphere of MMA, what was it like coming to it? What was it like experiencing it?
I've been to a few events, and it was the production value was unreal. I mean, the level of kind of production in the kind of, we were sat obviously in the arena, but you could see the in between kind of the things with the interviews with the fighters and things like that. It was as good, if not better, than the UFC. I think I've been to a few UFC events, and you couldn't knock it. And the fights are great. The level of the fighters was great. I mean, I wasn't in there with them, but like from where I was sitting, there was some good fights. There was some really close fights, and there was some really, really exciting moments as well. So I don't see how you can ask for more than that from an event.
You brought your wife as well. Firstly, mate, what a queen you have got. Laurie is absolutely amazing, unbelievable energy and just passion for everything. She was just great. Like as part as being at her first show, she's not a shy lady you got there, is she?
Oh no. People think I'm gonna be the loud one, and I'm not.
So what was it like for her? Because I always talk about this as well when I'm doing this show, Octagon Hype. I try to describe to people that the crowds are different from some of the other shows as well. It's a much more, I don't know, like festival type atmosphere rather than a lot of grit and tribal sort of sections of the crowd. What did she feel like being in there, and what was her thoughts off the back of it?
The crowd were great. I thought, again, going back, comparing it to a UFC event, there seemed a lot more MMA savvy, the crowd. There was a lot less booing when there was a bit of grappling going on and things like that. They were obviously very tribal to the local fighters. There was a moment where James Lewis, the only British fighter, was, I think me and Laurie were the only people. Laurie knocked the banner over when he won. She knocked the barrier over, nearly got us kicked out. She went full bloodthirsty.
Amazing.
But yeah, we were there, so they were obviously behind their own fans, but you can understand that. That's great in a way. Yeah, they were a great crowd. The atmosphere was unreal.
As well, we took you to the weigh-ins to start with, so we took you to see the stare downs, and there was a great crowd for that. And again, it's the other thing that I tell people about that. And you talked about the fans being savvy; they come out for their fighters. They're like they'll be there at the weigh-ins, and there was a good atmosphere. I could hear you and Laurie cheering for James Lewis. There's only one set of cheers for the English fighter there, but I could spot where that was coming from. But yeah, just tell us what you thought about that. Have you been to weigh-ins before? Have you ever been to?
I've been to weigh-ins before. And it was, do you know what? again, I just echo on what you've just said. People seem to be a lot more savvy. There was a lot less of kind of, if you go to other weigh-ins, it's like a lot of people on the phone, like kind of, it's a lot of a lot more industry. Normally, was these were genuine fans kind of getting out there and behind the fighters. The setting of it was lovely as well in the square, which I think was an inspired move. So that was it was a nice place to be. You had the gorilla guy running around, the mascot guy running around. So the atmosphere, and also like something I haven't really seen before at an MMA event. There was a lot more family, like full families with kids, and which you wouldn't really. You don't notice it when you don't see it, but like kind of you think, well, why not? Why shouldn't full families come? It's not I mean, people think it's a brutal sport, and it can be if you look at it the wrong way out of context. But I think it's a sport. Full families get behind boxing, and I don't see why they can't get behind MMA.
Yeah, totally. And you talk about the setting as well. You really like the city. Brno isn't a place that people really know very well. If you ask people even what country that was in, 90% of people couldn't guess, right? Couldn't guess. But we took you out in the city. Well, I say I wanted to introduce you to Andrej and Pavel as well, the owners. I remember this because I was like saying, you got to meet them because they're down to earth. They're like us. They're MMA fans. We went out for a meal, and I knew Andrej had blown it straight away when he wanted to swap starters with your wife because he had the foie gras. We had the duck strudel, which was a goddamn spring roll, mate. You know it. And he went to swap it. Oh, it was really good. But it was so funny because he went to like Laurie went, oh, that looks nice. He went, oh, you can have my foie gras. This is the second time I've eaten it today.
That's what I love about me. Mrs. like, all right, mate, doing all right, are you?
Yeah, that's right. Oh, chill out, mate. Yeah, come in here on your private plane and have your second portion of foie gras for the day. But what was it like meeting them as well? Because like I said to them, I want to bring people over, introduce them to Octagon and sort of spread the word a bit. But they're very cool guys, right?
They were so sweet. And I mean, they're famous over there. They are famous. Yeah. Like, I think I get bothered over here, but they are famous. Like, it's where you turn, you're like, he was so lovely. And like, we had, he was explaining Czech beer to us. I almost offended the most terrifying looking man in the world.
Oh my God.
Because the beers have got like that much head and that much beer. And I was like, well, why didn't you get a real beer? And he was like, I can't remember what it's called. There's a name for it, and it means
a schnitz. A schnitz. That's what they call it, a schnitz.
Yeah. So, but also wants to leave.
Oh mate! But you were sat you were sat next to Tomasz Huron, who's one of first of all one of the physically most scary dudes on the planet, and then also one of the most decorated Czech kickboxers to ever have competed. And you sat there, and so we'd had a few glasses of wine, we'd eaten the food, we'd giggled, we'd already relaxed. He took us to this bar called The Local to try the Czech beer. And then to start with, you're all nice. And then by the second or third one, you're like, yeah, but you're not really drinking a full beer, right?
Get a man's beer.
You should have a Guinness. Have a Guinness.
So what? I find this all the time with fighters, though. People think fighters are going to be bruisers, and they have such good senses of humor. Yeah. Like he found me. He thought it was funny. He was just laughing about it, wasn't he? He was such a sweet guy.
Great. So let's jump you back into the venue then, because also this was the first time they'd been in a full venue in Brno. This was where they did their sort of Fight Island thing. They did their fights through restrictions. Nearly 10,000 people as well. People always are surprised when I tell them how big the events are, and that's not one of the biggest. The next 3 events, there'll be another one in Frankfurt, which is about 9, and then the 2 in December, 20,000 fans in each of those.
We were coming in when we were getting to the. As we travelled to the arena with Tom and Andy and James, and we got there and we saw Andrej, so we were chatting to him. He said, "Oh, I'll walk you through." And as he was walking through, he was like, "It's only a little one. It's only a little one." I haven't been in there yet. He's like, "This is only a little one, but it's the only one they got in Brno. It's a lovely place, but it's only little." And I'm expecting like 1,000 people, and I walked in and I was like, Jesus Christ.
And it looks great, right? It looks amazing. All the lights and the setup.
Yeah. It was absolutely again, spot on. You couldn't knock the whole thing, the production value, backstage, the VIP area that they had. They had full food on, drink, and it's just lovely. They really look after people there. The hospitality is great.
And then James Lewis, you shared the ride in with him, and then you were cage side for this fight, and he gets the finish in like with neck crank, basically rear naked choke, neck crank, gets the tap. You could see what it meant to him. You hear what it meant to your wife, knocking the boundary over. But when you're interacting as we did throughout the weekend with these guys, there's a special place in your heart, right, for when moments like that.
I think we're best mates now, me and him.
Imagine, because we should also explain where this black eye came from, because you said to me, go on.
Well, I said, because I mean, I was so happy to meet Tom Blackledge. He's such a legend. I was really fanboying over that, like, and I didn't want to be like, but they're such good guys, and we kept bumping into them, and just so I said, oh, I'll come, because his gym's not far from me. So I said, oh, I'll come down and do a session, and he was like, oh yeah, and I don't think they expected me to turn up. So I went down yesterday morning, and he was like, oh man, it was weird. So I ended up doing, like, I was partnered up with James for the whole session, just drilling, and then we had a little roll, and I got a match. He's got a matching black eye to me now. We've got a. I've never felt anything like Tom Blackledge on top of me. It was soul destroying. I think my soul left me at one point.
If there's any other moments within the event that kind of caught your eye, and or fighters that you kind of were impressed with.
Obviously the title fight that where he switched that head kick and then followed up and just finished him off. Because I thought Lahore was going to do very well in that fight, to be honest.
Yeah, and well, I never thought it would be that fight. I thought Kinsa would be looking for the takedown, having to get through Lahore's counter striking. He's very hard hitter, both hands. So I thought it was going to be that chess match, and then if he could get it down to the mat, holding him positionally, just keeping busy and grinding the time. Everybody I spoke to, that was the blueprint. And then Kinsel comes out, and the right hand was sweet. But like you said, when he switched stances, and you said it straight away to me, he said, as soon as he switched stances, I went, hi, head kick. And then
Bitch kind of bounced a couple of times, and he was just waiting for that range to slip in where he could just smack that head kick in. And it was it was spot on. Yeah. It was spot on.
And what? Go on. Again, this is just to get your emotions from it. I mean, I was on my feet. I was screaming because it was so unexpected, the way in which he dealt with Lahore to finish him for one, but to do it in that style.
It really worked, because, like, I mean, it wasn't. I don't how long. It was not a long fight, was it? So
3 minutes 12, something like that. 3 minutes 15 seconds.
Kind of. It wasn't. It was a little bit back and forth up until obviously that head kick landed, and then it was 10 seconds, 15 seconds before it was finished. And it was like, I was up on my feet. It was great. That was an electric moment. The whole crowd went crazy for that.
What was it like being in there? Because you were front row. So what was it like with?
I could smell the blood from where I was.
That's just from the people Laurie had killed around you, right? Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Where can people catch you over here? Because you've got a phenomenal tour. And again, I can't tell. I've been on the circuit. Now you talk about those long drive home. You probably had less than me because you're now selling out theatres. But I had a lot of time when I was driving home with no radio on from Newcastle back to Farnham or wherever it was. You've built this following, this fan base, right? There's now you can tour, and that is the gift, right? The ultimate gift of comedy. Where can people catch you, and when's the tour run from and to, and what sort of venues are you doing?
The tour runs from last week up until July, right through the year. Tickets are all at hotwatercomedy.co.uk. We're hitting pretty much every city in the UK. There's more to be added. I think a couple of big cities we're still trying to figure out the venue for, so there's a couple more to be added. But yeah, UK and all of Ireland, we're getting round, and it's the, not to blow my own trumpet, but it's the best show I've ever done. So I'm excited to get out there and for people to see it. It's just nice to be back out and touring again.
So that's Paul Smith. Now, what a legend, mate. Not just him, but his beautiful wife, Laurie. They came over to Brno. You spent a lot of time, like a solid 4 hours in a van on the journey from the airport to the hotel. But I mean, to get their thoughts and their feelings and to see their reaction to the event, that was special as well.
Yeah, man, they're a beautiful couple, and like you said, Paul's a big MMA fan. Like he's not a casual fan. He is a legit, real mixed martial arts fan. So to spend the weekend with him, to chat with him, talk about the corners, the teams. Amazing.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Equally as amazing was this man's performance and the reaction from the crowd. We're going to talk to now Andrej Kalasnik, AK-47, to get his thoughts on what happened in the cage and the fans that adored him outside it in Brno. So here we are. We're joined by the man himself, the man of the minute, Mr. Andrej Kalasnik. How are you, my friend?
Hi, mate. Yeah, everything is great. So, Brno calling. Brno calling. Hi.
Listen, Brno, what a city you have. What an army of fans. That has got to be up there with one of the greatest moments, weekends of your life, right?
Yeah, it was, for me, it's definitely a night to remember. Yeah, it was maybe my part of some childhood dream or something, because, you know, entered the arena when I was like little child looking on the hockey and stuff. So for me, it was like some childhood dream. And I know that I will have a lot of fans here. I know a lot of friends will watch this fight inside the arena. But afterwards, after I entered the arena, I was like turn around and looking on the ground, and I was, wow, fuck, it's really happened. So I was a little bit in tension. So for whole fight, I understand that it will be the first time for me in such a big arena, and maybe it will be for me a little bit hard. Like, I mean, inside my head, yeah, you need to fight with such things, like such a physical thing and stuff. And yeah, I was a little bit in tension afterwards, but win is home, so it's okay.
Listen, now you talk about dreams, okay? I've got to be honest, I haven't been able to sleep since one moment this weekend. Seeing you with your wife on your pants right next to me at the weigh-ins in the morning. What was that about? I was announcing the official weigh-ins in the morning, and Andrej Novotny just pointed down at what I will say is your groin area, and your wife was smiling at me. Your wife was staring at me. Tell us about this.
Yeah, I get this present, this underwear on the Valentine's Day. Yeah, like the present. And right now, my wife defending my pants every time. So when I go to the fight, when I go to the disco club, when I go to some event where there is a lot of girls, I need to wear these pants. Because now, everybody should know that she's there.
She owns that, right? That area, that is hers, okay? And you said to me, she told you had to wear them for the weigh-ins, and that's you can't say no to that, can you? You're not going to fight that fight before you go into the cage on Saturday.
No, I really can't, because she told me, take it. And I take it because, you know, I don't need some problems before waiting, and and she has a lot of power. So
yeah. I'll also say, my friend, she looked extremely happy. So whatever is in that area, she seems like she's quite happy with what's going on. Okay.
Yeah. So sometimes I need to listen to her.
That's good. It's good. Now, look, I want to take you through it step by step, because it was magical for me to be there, and I said it many times after the event that it wasn't just about the fights. There's a relationship between Octagon and your city, Brno, and it felt like the fans were so pleased to be there. They were grateful that this event was there, as Octagon were grateful to Brno for all that city has done for that promotion. At the weigh-ins, you step on stage to a huge crowd, and they all cheer, and you get them calling Octagon backwards and forwards. What does that feel like? What are those moments like when because they've got such love for you, and it's a city that's become your home and has given you so much. What was that moment like?
I try to give something to my community back, because the thing is that I came here to Brno like the immigrants. So my parents are from Ukraine. I'm born in Ukraine, and I was like, come here, and I get in Brno, in Czech Republic, I get a better life. I get the friends, I get the vibe here. So everything I get, it was done here in like Brno or in Moravia, in our part of the Czech Republic. And I was like thinking the way that I get something and I need to put something back. So I really try to represent the Brno. I really try to represent the whole area of the Moravia. So even if I'm not born here, but I'm proud to be the part of the city.
What was the day like when you woke up on Saturday morning? To talk us through what the emotions were. What did you do to sort of keep yourself calm before you had to go out there and compete?
On the fight day, I was trying to be calm, because a lot of the lot of energy, the lot of stuff in your head before such a fight, so you need to calm it. And this is my problem, that I every time sometimes in fights I'm pushy or like too much motivated, so I stay calm. I stay calm in the fight, but it was not such a hell of the fight or some dog fight. It was tactical fights. It's more chess game than MMA. But after I lost my last fight, this is what I need. This is what I need, because I have some injuries and stuff, and I need to win it in such a way. There like not so much attractivity in this fight, but I'm not some belly dancer to be attractive every time.
Only for your wife in those pants, right? Only for your wife in those pants.
Yeah. I think I have about 2 performances of the night in the octagon. So I do the good fights, and sometimes you need to done in such a way. So it's next time I will improve it. But the case is that I'm winning, and this is for me the thing that I after the loss.
You're hard on yourself, but technically you dealt with that exactly how a coach would want you to deal with that. The range, use your weapons wisely, stay aware that he's going to charge in and try and catch you with an overhand right or try and take you down.
The case is this was a tactic from the start of the fight, because of my injury, because of his style of fighting. So, and in the corner, maybe it's the first fight that I listened to my corner, like literally. I have in the corner the Martin Karviniak, Burkot, his I don't know, about 20 fights in MMA. Jiří Procházka, the UFC champ, the Martin Karavanov, the trainer of the UFC champ. So these guys told me this thing, and I just do it. And if people think that they are smarter than these guys in my corner, so okay, I don't think so.
Okay.
Think so. But next time I need to more do for attractivity, and this is bittersweet. But like I said, it's done this way, and maybe after some time, this bittersweet will be a little bit gone. But the win is home, so this is the most important thing for me.
Yeah, the win is there. You're back inside that win column. Let's talk about the corner.
Of course, when you have the UFC champ in your corner, it's something different. Jiří helped me a lot. For the first time, he helped me a lot with the briefing. I've never done such a things that before. She just came in and said to me, come on, brief, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and this stuff with some briefing method. He's expert on this, he's worked with briefing and stuff, and I will feel good. I will feel good. So it's something different for me to have this guy in the corner, if you have such a team and guys in the corner, like, how you can lose? You cannot lose in such a. You cannot lose. It's something added.
Jiří Procházka won the world title in an epic battle against Glover Teixeira. So, what was it like watching Jiří win the belt, and how's that motivated you in your career?
I think he do the best thing for the not for me or for our gym, but for MMA, like for sport in our country. So people look differently on the MMA right now after Yuri win the title. And yeah, like, you know, from the start, or in the Czech Republic in the previous time, if you do the MMA, they think like you some the bald guy with tattoo and fighting in the on some backyard or something, and you're criminal and this stuff. But with the Yuri mindset, they see that we are sportsmen, that we are real person. And after he won it, so I think people will take us maybe like heroes or real fighters, and not some kind of criminals. It's better and better. Every year is better and better. Yes. So we will see. Right now in our gym, a lot of kids come to train and stuff. So it's something like revolution in this sport for our gym, for our city. So it's good for the future. Yeah.
What's next, and how long till we get to see you back in there?
Yesterday, I see some Instagram video from Mateusz Juracek, and he called me out. He called me out for the fight, and thank you, Mateusz. Thank you very much, because I have a problem with the opponents. I fight with only guys from another countries, not from Czech and Slovakia. I don't know why. And first time, some guy tried to fight with me from the Czech Republic. So right now he make a promo for this, some trash talking. So for me it's good. I don't need to do nothing. Just he promote the fight, and I will be just fighting there with him. I think I can promise that. Or the case is that we want to fight with Mateusz before. We want to fight before, but he has some problems with the knee. I'm not sure. So every time when we ask for him, Andrej say that he is ill or something with the knee. I don't remember. And we have problem to get some fighter for Brno. So we get this Brazilian guy, this stuffed guy, and yeah, he called me out. Finally, some person called me out. So I think we can manage this fight. He want to fight in Ostrava, so I'm not sure, because right now I'm not going to the gym, but I'm just running by the physiotherapy and the doctors. But I think I can promise that after I will be okay, the next fight can be with the Mateusz, because I think the Czech and Slovak guys want to see this fight, and I think he's a great opponent for me. If we are looking on the top 5, he's right now number 5, I think, and number 6. So definitely it makes sense to fight with him. And just Mateusz little bit wait, and I will be here for you.
Well, you can add an Englishman to that set of people that would like to watch that fight as well. Before I let you go, 2 more things before I let you go. Coming up next for the welterweight belt is Kajk Brito taking on David Kozma. What are your thoughts on that fight? Do you think Kajk Brito could be the one to dethrone Kozma, or do you think Kozma's style would be too much for Brito?
Like I said once time, I think the Kajk Brito, it's a pound for pound in octagon, in stand-up, like best stand-up fighter, pound for pound for all the weights, I think, in octagon. But David already see the fight with Boraros, Kajk with me, or with Bricek, and this guy can knock out I don't know like what, but he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. But David have already the instruction, and he is a very good wrestler. His stamina is crazy. I mean, the David. So yeah. I think right now it's, for me, 60-40 more for David, but for sure it will be like the hardest fight for David in octagon.
Yeah, for sure. Exciting. Last one, and this is a contest nobody knew was happening on Saturday night, but at the Maison Club in Brno, there's pictures of you and Gottwald on the dance floor. Who wins in a dance-off between you and Gottwald?
There was just guys cheering for us or something, and it was great. They are like welcoming us after the fight. So I'm sure I'm better dancer than JJ. He's so good dancer, but you know, there was some like electronic music and techno. Yeah, I'm more like in the different style. I like the British music. I like a lot of like the Fateless, the Above and Beyond. I was in the
Boom.
but more I will more dance. So I'm more like the classic stuff like the Smiths. You know this stuff. If a double-decker bus crashes into us, to die by your side is such a heavenly way to die.
Yes, mate. Yes. Do you know what? When I woke up this morning, I'd have no idea that Andrej Kalasnik would sing the Smiths to me today. That is as happy as you were waking up on Saturday knowing you're going to fight in Brno's winning group arena. That has made my day, my week, my month, my year, my friend. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I need to show the guys. They ask me every time which color is your favorite. You know, on the Instagram, which kind of music you listen to. So the Smiths, Above and Beyond. Yeah, I love it. So, and I need to say, yeah, I say it because like to British person. So I need to say
it's good. And I appreciate that. That makes me very, very happy. I also appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for the time today. So much love for you, seeing how Brno has embraced you and what you gave back to them as well. And I can't wait to see you in there again, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian, for this opportunity to be there, to speak with you, to little bit like show myself to the fans in England and Ireland, and so I'm looking for the future. Maybe in a few months or a few years we will see the Octagon in your side in Britain. Maybe we will see, and definitely I want to fight there.
That would be amazing. You'd be my guest, my friend, and I would show you some more British music. I'd give you some British beer, which I'll be honest is not as good as Czech beer, so you might not like that as much. But it would be my honor to host you over here. So once again, Andrej Kalasnik, congratulations, and we'll see you again soon. Okay. So that was Andrej Kalasnik. My goodness, Josh, you think about that as a moment in his life. That is something that he will relive in his mind forever, that the people, the fans, all his family, his friends will remember forever. And having Jiří Procházka in your corner, cornering you for a fight in your hometown, doesn't get better than that.
He'll be telling his kids, his grandkids, it'll go down in history with all that story, won't it? Fighting in your hometown, UFC champ in the corner, that's mega.
Absolutely magic. Now, before we wrap this up, and once again, thank you for watching Octagon Hype. There's people that you met over there in Brno as part of the Octagon team. Now, I am so proud of this team because everybody that I've spoken to or who's visited or engaged with any part of Octagon always talks about the enthusiasm, the energy, how proud the people are to work for this promotion. And you made yourself a little buddy, Josh, didn't you?
Yeah. So I met from top to bottom, Andre, Pavel, but even like Jan, the doorman.
The cage doorman.
The cage doorman. Right. I promised him, I'm going to talk about you on this show, mate, because the effort that he puts in is like, it's 1,000%. Like he gives it blood, sweat and tears to perform his role within the Octagon machine. And yeah, he deserves a shout out every week. Let's give him whatever.
Every week. And like you said, because you called him the MVP, like the unsung hero, the most valuable player, because it sums it up. It sums what this means to people. They've got other lives outside of Octagon, but when they get there, they are all in. Yeah. And he gives it everything from jumping in to wiping the mats down to closing the door just on the second before the fight starts again.
But even the energy of, so when that horn goes, I genuinely think he swings off it. He'll grab all of it and he'll swing out. Yeah. And then to let the teams in, not to allow even like a millisecond of time to delay them getting into their fight or the cut man getting in. Like, you've got to respect that.
Yeah. How's the horn sound again? now he goes for a manlier horn. That's it. Oh dear. So look, we're going to finish with a few bits off social media that have come through from Octagon. Now this made me smile. This made me laugh because the German team from Octagon, they're very proud of their fighters. They're very proud of their fighters because they believe they are the most stylish fighters on the Octagon roster. So they did a little thing where they said, look, let's get some pictures of our fighters wearing their best gear. So we've got a picture of Christian Eklund here, looking great in this green jacket. Hatif Moel, just looking the part. Rafael Xavier, that's right, the Brazilian by way of Germany, looking fantastic. And then we got Stefan Putz. Look at that.
I love this man.
This guy, and I'm going to chuck it to a video as well, where he goes for a little walk with Max Koga, somebody he deems his little brother, his little brother Max Koga. Get away with it. We would not get away with it in Frankfurt or any other city on the planet. Now, also alongside what has made me smile as far as laughter, something that's warmed my heart this week is some of the extra stuff that's been going on in and around the show for Brno from the Octagon team. Now, the Octagon team heard about a couple of things going on. Now, I told you about the bullying campaign they've got with David Kozma that they've been doing, going into schools, helping work with young people to show them how martial arts can help them, how martial arts can help grow their character, their confidence, and help them deal with bullying. And they went and visited some schools this week. They went to one school, and it looks, if I show you the actual picture before I show you the video, Josh, it looks like a really weird Octagon press conference. But you'll see Baba Yaga there, you see Andrej Novotny. They went to this school and they talked to young people about bullying, about how to cope with it, about why it's bad, and then also about martial arts. And for me, just that work, and the biggest stars like Andrej Novotny and Pavel Neruda taking time out of their diaries to go and do this sort of work, it's phenomenal for me. It really does hit home, because I think it's important, right? We don't just have to be a big promotion, a big show. It's the stuff you can do with that sort of focus and spotlight that make the difference. Yeah,
it speaks volumes for the integrity in the organisation. Like, as we say, from top to bottom, from Andrej and Pavel, like they're obviously good people trying to make an impact, you know. So yeah, it's beautiful to see. And
the one that got me, and it properly got me, and it'll probably get me again as we talk about it now, is they heard about an orphanage and a special needs school in and around Brno, and they heard about these young kids. Now, these are kids that have not had the best start, that are not, life has dealt them probably the toughest hands that you could be dealt. And they heard that one thing that they do, these young kids, these young boys and girls who live together, they are basically based at this place together. They get €5 a month each. That is it. That's all they get to spend. They club together to get the Octagon pay-per-views. They spend their money, which could be spent on it, so that they can, and this is what I got told by Sylvia, and Sylvia is an amazing part of Octagon. She said that they do it so they have this 6 hours where they're not where they are, they're watching Octagon. So you think about that. Now, Andrej and David Kozma went to the school, surprised the kids, walked in. David Kozma, the welterweight champion, belt on his thing. Andrej Novotny, one of the biggest stars in the Czech Republic. And they walk in, and you just watch the welcome they get from these kids. They absolutely adore Octagon. Octagon have obviously sorted them out so they don't have to club their money together to get the show, but they've also given those kids, those young people, a day which will put a smile on their face every single time they think about it. That makes me so proud. That makes me so happy to be with Octagon, to be working for a company that would do something like that. They didn't do a massive release about it or anything. They just wanted to give something back. So again, when you talk about the spotlight and the power you've got, that for me sums them up in one little action, one little moment that they wanted to give back. So look, we're gonna have to do something to cheer me up in a second. We just roll Stefan Putz on the waterboard again. But look, jokes aside, that is phenomenal, right, Josh?
Yeah, you can't imagine what positive impact that's going to have on those kids' lives in the future. You know, like those kids that are there, they're in like the worst environment, you know, the cards that they've been dealt. You know, there could be an Octagon champion sat there. That could have that level of impact, you know, to motivate them on to, you know, the future life. You never know what could happen.
Yeah, so look, that's the phrase. And Octagon's phrase through this bullying campaign is there is a fighter in all of us, and hopefully it ignites that fight in some of them, whether it's to be a fighter or, you know, just to believe in themselves a little bit more, to have some sunshine in their lives. So that's amazing. And finally, this is a moment off the back of this event that involves Patrick Kinsella. He put a post up the other day. He has donated his Fight of the Night bonus from Tipsport, the 50,000 Czech crowns, to a lady that he met, a lady that he interacted with in a city called Hradec. And he met her. She was a waitress, found out she's a single mother. He had a little bit of back and forth with her because they had all these homemade sodas and juice, and he kept asking her to repeat it. And in the end, it became a funny thing where she basically told him to F off. But through that small interaction, he was very interested in her story, what, as a single mother, how she's trying to provide for her family. Since then, it's come to light that she will be going through her first stages of chemotherapy next week. So Patrick Kinsella, our champion, the middleweight champion, has donated that money to her to help ease some of the pressure that comes with not being able to work, with, you know, all the stuff that comes with being a single parent and trying to just get through something like that. So once again, what a champion.
What a beautiful way to close this, man. Like that man, Kinsella is my new number one.
That's it. Well, you've already laid your hat firmly in the corner of Kinsella. We're going to get Carlos Vermola in studio.
No, I'm out that day.
So look, that wraps it up for another episode of Octagon Hype. Once again, thank you for watching the show. You can now get it. It's available on all podcast apps. That's right, from Spotify to wherever you get your podcasts. So you can listen to it in your ears, even if you can't watch it with your eyes. Also, follow us on social media. Do us a favor, subscribe to this channel and spread the word, because Octagon Hype is going to come back to you every 2 weeks. Me, Bryan Lacey, alongside that man, Josh Gudgeon. We will see you next time.